This is Zach By filling in for Roger Weiland on a Thursday morning, and we got a jam-packed show. And within that statement, we bring in the head coach of the UAlbany basketball team, Will Brown. How's the offseason going?
It's going. It seems like it just flew right by. We had our 9th annual golf classic on Monday. It was a huge success, and to be honest with you, I can't wait till Saturday night, first home football game. Coach Gattuso and his staff are doing a tremendous job with the program. They're 2-0 right now, and I encourage everybody out in the community, to get to the stadium. Buy tickets. They're good. It's a great atmosphere, beautiful stadium, and my boss, our director of athletics, Mark Benson, and his team doing a tremendous job with marketing, promotions, tickets. So it's going to be more than a football game. It's going to be a huge event in the Capital District, and hopefully, I think the football team and Coach Gattuso deserves a full stadium on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get close. I mean, they're 2-0. They're nationally ranked. They're playing well. Holy Cross blew their doors off a year ago, 37-zip. You got to think that something's in the back of their mind.
Some motivation right there.
Yeah. So that's going to be very fun, and that'll be a television game on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel across New York State. Roger and I will do that, and it will also be here on 104.5 The Team. All right, so let's jump right into your team here, Coach.
You want to talk basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give you the same treatment I gave Coach Gattuso in the offseason. He had a quarterback that struggled a year ago. Your situation is very different because you lose players. You're not supplanting players. Who's going to be your point guard this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. We tried to get John Yachty a 5th year of eligibility, but at 30 years old, he was denied. To be honest with you, we had a young man that was in our program last year, a freshman, David Nichols from Chicago, probably our most athletic player, maybe our most physically talented player, but he sat behind, in my opinion, the best point guard in our league in Evan Singletary. And when I decided to take Evan out of the game, I either rotated Peter Hooley to the point, or I even played Joe Cremo at the point to get Joe some more minutes. David has been terrific in the off season. He looks great in fall workouts. Reminds me a lot of my former point guard, DJ Evans, who as a junior came in and sat behind Mike Black, who was probably the best point guard in our league as a senior. DJ just didn't get the opportunity. Small sample size. When he did play meaningful minutes, played very well. As you know, Zach, when David had the opportunity at Cornell in the CBI against Ohio, when he was given meaningful minutes, he produced and he played well. I think people are going to be shocked at how good this kid really is and how talented he is.
Yeah, I remember that exact scenario with DJ Evans, and he really blossomed into, what I would refer to as an alpha. I mean, there was times on the floor, give me the freaking ball. I remember that NCAA game.
Best player on the floor. Best player on the floor.
Patrick Young and Scotty Wilbekin, SEC Player of the Year. DJ Evans was the best basketball player on the floor that night. And you're right. I've been impressed with David Nichols when he's gotten those opportunities. So that will be very interesting. What's the feel of this team's DNA in the time that you guys have turned over 3 all-conference seniors? What is the DNA of your team right now?
I'm really excited about this team because of the unknown, Zach. Last year going into the season, I had Hooley, Singletary, Sanders on the perimeter, as good as any in our league, knew we'd win a lot of games. This year, those 3 guys graduating, Joe Cremo now steps into a more prominent role. David Nichols is going to be given the ball. What is he going to do with it? There's some questions. There's some concerns. I think we're going to be good. But I'm excited to coach this team just because of that unknown. I'm looking at it as a tremendous challenge. This team has a chance to be pretty good, in my mind. So, we're just taking it day by day right now. I see a Joe Cremo as a young sophomore really starting to emerge as a leader. You know how competitive he is. You know him well. But, like yesterday, for example, when we're conditioning, 1 or 2 guys missed the time that was required, and Joe stepped right up. He walked down the line, and he's letting guys know it's unacceptable. If we want to win a championship, this can't happen. We need to do it right, and we need to do it to the best of our ability the first time, because we're not going to get a second chance. We get beat, game over. And so, I just like to see these young guys grow and develop. I also think we need to rely, especially early on our returning players, because they understand our program, they understand me, they understand our conference. We need to allow the new guys a chance to grow and develop and get comfortable.
Do you think that, and to your point about Joe, I mean, I'm not shocked at all. I saw him in high school try to fight some of his teammates for that kind of stuff. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Do you think that this team and the pieces that you have can compete for a championship and play in what would be your 6th NCAA tournament? What
I am comfortable saying right now is I do think when we get to a conference tournament format, when we get to that point, I think we'll be in a position to compete to win it. As far as a regular season championship goes, that's a great unknown. I think we have not practiced together as a team. Our first practice is October 7th, and it's a journey. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, and I know it sounds like coach talk. I just don't know enough about this team right now. I know there's a lot of coaches that are so excited about their teams, and they'll tell you we're going to be great. You know what? Everybody loves their team right now because none of us have lost a game yet.
I always say that.
Talk to me at the end of November, and we'll see. But I like the pieces that we have. I'm anxious to see. We need Greg Steyer and Mike Rowley, who were both rock solid for us last year, to take the next step. We need Joe Cremo to understand that he's going to get the other team's best defender every night. He's going to play 30 minutes a night. How does he respond? David Nichols looks phenomenal. What's he going to do when the lights are on, playing extended minutes? Who's going to play the small forward spot for us? So there's some unknowns there, but I think they're good unknowns for us right now.
All right, give me the name of just one, and I know this is not a strong suit of yours, but give me the name of just one newcomer that UAlbany basketball fans will know the name by 5 games into the season. Say, hey, this guy is going to help us immediately.
Newcomers?
Yeah,
I would say Devontae Campbell, 6'6", 220-pound wing from Canada. He came to us, junior college kid. He has 3 years of eligibility. I think he has an opportunity to step in and play major minutes from day one. He has an old school game. He's always under control, can score at the basket, mid-range, three-point line, rebounds well for that position, good size kid. And him and Joe Cremo have become close, so Joe's always dragging him to the gym. That's the one thing, Zach, that I like about Joe. Joe refuses to go to the gym by himself. So he'll send a text out to all the guys, hey, I'm going to the gym. I'll be here at this time. If he doesn't get responses, he'll go to the room and get guys. So Joe's always going to the gym now with 3 or 4 guys, and that becomes contagious. And so our guys are putting in the work. They're getting better on their own. They're doing more than what's required. And Joe has a big hand in that. And Joe and David Nichols have become very close. So those 2 guys are usually in the gym all the time together, but other guys are going with them. It's important enough to them to get guys into the gym with them doing extra work. I don't even have to tell Joe that. Joe just does it on his own. David's starting to do it, and it becomes contagious.
That's one of those things where it's like almost like you're indirectly holding guys accountable because you don't want to be the guy that didn't show up, because then that starts to paint a picture of you. I remember those situations myself when I was in college, and I'm like, okay, I'm beat to hell. I really don't want to go, but am I really going to be the guy that doesn't show up?
Hey, when you're a college kid, you can come up with a million reasons why you can't do extra work. I have to go to the cafeteria and eat. I have to study. I'm tired. I want to play some video games.
My girlfriend's bugging me.
Yeah, my girl. That's a big one. My girlfriend's bugging me. I want to do a whole lot of nothing. I say this to my guys all the time, and Joe's a guy that embraces this. Excuses are for losers. And I just feel that way, and I think our guys kind of embrace that.
The head coach of the UAlbany men's basketball program, trying to go back to an NCAA tournament. If they could go this year, it would be their third in the last 4 years. And I know Danes fans are excited about the coming season. A couple local guys back that will both be in the starting lineup, and Greg Steyer and Joe Cremo. But in the scope of the league, Coach, where do you think the other coaches will vote you in the preseason poll? Or how do you think that the top 3 will stack up?
Yeah, I think just based on our returning personnel, Vermont will be picked number 1 in our league. They did graduate Ethan O'Day, who was a good player, 6'8", 6'9", but they had a transfer sitting out from Tulane, 6'8", 6'9" kid, Peyton Henson, who I think is better than O'Day. So I think Vermont has the best returning personnel, at least on paper. UNH has 5 starters back and play with great toughness. They play the way their coach coaches. Billy Herrian does a wonderful job. I think will be picked 3rd in the preseason poll, in my opinion, and then I think Stony Brook would be picked 4th. At least that's how I would pick them. But then again, once you play the games, that can all change. And, we've got to find a way that if we're picked 3, find a way to end up 1. And that's why every year is a new puzzle, and we've got to put those pieces together to make it work and try to win a championship.
So, and just thinking back, the times that you have won championships. So you got 5 championships, 06 and 07, right? And then 12, 13, 14?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And I think...
No, 13, 14, 15.
13, 14, 15, yep. Excuse me. Right, because it'll be 17 season. I think in those years you were only picked at the top of the league once.
Preseason number 1, I think we 2 of those 5 we were picked 1.
Okay.
I believe, yes.
Okay, because I remember in the last 3, you were never picked 1. You were picked, I remember the first year you won it, you were even picked 4th.
Well, they kept picking us 2nd the last 2 years. I think we won it, and
yes.
That bothered me. But, we won when it mattered most. And, when you're in a one bid league, Zach, winning the regular season is awesome because you're doing it over a 2-month period. It's very difficult to do. But what matters most, which I think is unfortunate in certain situations, is it comes down to really what you do in the conference tournament, because one team's going to the NCAA tournament at this level.
And to that point, this past year, you guys won the regular season for the first time in some time, couple years, and got upset by Hartford in a game that, it's so hard to describe if you've never actually been in those situations. And this is on a micro scale to the Division I macro. But I remember being in high school, had the 2nd ranked team in New York State. We had smacked, this team by 16 both occasions. You show up and we're actually at UAlbany and they make 16 threes. And it's just one of these things. The sky is falling. After every second feels like another knife in your back. It is just the worst feeling I can ever describe. And it's one of these things where I still have nightmares about it to this day.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I was going to say, is that something that is just churning in you?
Well, I was asked a question. I spoke to a sociology of sport class on campus, Professor Phil Lewis's class, 2 weeks ago. And they asked me about winning and losing. And I hate to lose more than I enjoy to win. And it eats at me every single day. I think about that game. I still feel for my seniors. We play that game 10 times. We win 9.
There's no doubt.
And we had beaten them 3 days prior where we didn't play well. We still won by 20. We beat them at their place by 20 plus. The one thing with a team like Hartford is they live and die with the 3. And they hit 9 or 10 of them in the first half. They sat back in a zone, dared us to shoot. We couldn't make any shots. And here we are going into the locker room at halftime in shock. Undefeated at home, had won like 20 games in a row on our home court. The last day of the regular season when we beat them, almost 4,000 people in the arena. We play 3 days later. The arena's half empty. I think our fans just expected us to win, and we'd have a sellout the next game against Vermont in our building. It was just unfortunate. But that is sports. That is March Madness. That is one bid league basketball. Unfortunately, it happened to us. We had been on such a run over the last few years. Nobody wanted to see us on their half of the draw in the conference tournament. And I will tell you this, nobody cheered louder when they were giving score updates than the people at Stony Brook.
Of course.
I thought at that point in time, heading into the conference tournament, that we were the best team in the league and that we were going to win the conference tournament. I really felt that way. I believed it. If we had to go back down to Stony Brook, I was confident we were going to win. We'd find a way. But we didn't take care of business. And like I said, every day I think, what could I have done better? What could we have done better? And I feel for my seniors because I thought they felt they had one more really good run in them. So it's disappointing, but we won 24, 25 games.
Yeah, it was actually a school record for wins in a season, 24 wins.
It was a really good year, but unfortunately our expectations, we've set them so high that we feel like it was disappointing.
Yeah, and I know the fashionable coach thing to say is probably, hey, we hit the reset button every year is its own. And I know that that's true.
Yeah.
But is there a hint of that wound that's still healing this season that's in your mind as a piece of motivation?
No, I have not talked about it at all with this group. I think once it's time for the conference tournament, I think we'll have guys like Joe Cremo that will remind the new guys what happened a year ago against Hartford, so we can maintain our focus and make sure that, hey, there is no letdown heading into the conference tournament. But right now, it's all about this team creating its own identity. It's a new team. It's a new year. Got to do a few things differently than we've done in the past, but it's an exciting time. Like I said, trying to figure it out as a coach. You just can't do what you always do. I'm running this play because I did it last year. I'm playing this defense because I played it a year ago. You really have to understand and evaluate your personnel, and it's our job, especially mine, to put this group in a position to win. And that's what you have the non-conference for. You have to figure it out. You have to learn as much as you can in a short period of time. You want to win every game on that non-conference schedule, but early on, here's the rotation I think is going to work. And you tweak that rotation as you move forward, as you learn more about your group.
And to that end, your non-conference schedule, you have Penn State, you have Cincinnati, who's going to be an NCAA tournament team this year. Who else in the non-conference can we expect UAlbany to lock horns with here?
Well, Holy Cross played in the NCAA tournament last year. Yale played in the NCAA tournament last year. Siena, I'd be shocked if they're not playing in the NCAA tournament this year. I think they're going to be terrific. I think they're going to have a great year. They'll probably start 4 seniors, and I think Jimmy will get them to play extremely hard. So I think they're an NCAA tournament caliber team. So, we're challenging ourselves. We have good balance with our schedule. I'm still looking for one more game right now. That's why the non-conference schedule has not been released. We're playing Grand Canyon at Mohegan Sun, and most people might be like, Grand Canyon? They won 26, 27 games last year.
I remember
coached by Thunder Dan Marley.
That's right.
They'll probably win their league and be in the NCAA tournament. So, our group's going to be challenged. The game that I add to finish our schedule will be an NCAA caliber team without question. I can't give you names right now because I just haven't finalized it. I'm talking to 2 or 3 teams. I'm going to hopefully get it done by the end of the day tomorrow, or a worst case scenario by Monday. But we're going to play a good schedule that's going to challenge our group and get us ready for conference play.
I'm going to ask you this, and I didn't preface this, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but not pertaining to this season, but in the future. I'm a St. Rose alum. It's a Division II program in the area. You coached at St. Rose for a period. You have actually a family tie to Brian Bury. Would you ever consider playing St. Rose?
I would never give Brian the satisfaction of having the opportunity to walk in our gym and potentially beat us. And I say that with the biggest smile on my face, as you can see right now.
Those things happen.
The problem is he'd want me to go to the Bury Dome and play.
Mike Longcourt.
Mike Longcourt and the Brian Bury Dome. But love Brian. He gave me my first opportunity in this business. Very close with him. He came and supported our golf outing on Monday. He played in it with your good friend Stevie Daggs.
Sure.
I tried to get you there, but you
Yeah.
You're a big shot on the radio now, so you can't take days off. But Brian's tremendous. I haven't given it much thought, to be honest with you. And maybe we will. Maybe the year I retire, I'll make sure that I get him to sign a contract so he can go out and beat the next coach at Albany. But he's good people. He's going to have a really good team this year.
Yeah. They have.
I know he's really excited about what they have, and his assistant Mike Perno, who well. I actually recruited. When he was leaving Monmouth, I had an opportunity to recruit Mike, and he does a great job as well. So they're going to be good this year. So people in the area, when we're not playing, go see St. Rose.
Yeah, that's right. The Golden Knights, baby. All right, let me delve into something else here. There's a common. How should I say this, Will, without offending you? There's a misnomer that you're like basketball. You're basketball obsessed, and I think in season that's maybe fair to say because you're just driven and you wake up every day trying to get better. But I've got to know you well over the years, and you have interests other than coaching this team. Yeah. So let's get to know Will Brown a little bit here outside of basketball. All right. So I'm going to throw you a couple wild card questions. Favorite football team?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Really?
Well, growing up, I was growing up during the Mean Joe Green, Coke commercials, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, Franco Harris. Yes, they were really good in winning, but that was the team that I kind of embraced. So right now, you ask me, hey, I got to stick with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ben.
Okay. Favorite UFC fighter?
This isn't even Conor McGregor. How do you not love the Irishman? Best trash talker in all of sports since Muhammad Ali.
I know he's got a future in pro wrestling when he's done because
he will knock you out with one punch.
He really can. Favorite movie of all time?
Another easy one, Hoosiers.
Okay.
Don't get caught watching the paint dry.
Favorite basketball player that you've ever seen?
Easy. Greatest player of all time. And I'll get blasted on Twitter for this. Couldn't run, couldn't jump. Greatest player is Larry Bird. Yeah, number 33.
He's
from French Lick.
He's definitely a top 100 guy.
He wouldn't make your section 2 top 5. Maybe he'd come off the bench for you.
The favorite player you've ever coached?
Wow, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Probably it was Jamar Wilson, not because he was the best player I ever coached, but because he helped us build the program. He took a chance by coming to Albany. He was like a son for me, and I kicked him out of practice probably 100 times in 4 years. He quit the team 35 times over 4 years. And, like I said, he's like a son to me. We've got a great relationship to this day.
We're going to have him on the show soon. Can't wait to get him on. Favorite coach in your league?
Favorite coach in our league? I really like Billy Hare. I like them all. But I really like Billy Herrian at UNH because he's so passionate about the game. He's a grinder. I think his teams play the right way, especially defensively, and it's always a battle when we play against them.
I like them all. I'm going to have to write that down and remind you that in December. In 10 seconds, who would win in a fight, Levi Levine or Joe Cremo?
Joe's as intense of a guy as I've ever seen, but I don't think anybody beats Levi Levine up. Nobody in a fist fight beats Levi Levine up.
Coach, well done. I appreciate you coming in here before conditioning, and I know you got something to plug here on your way out the door.
Yes, September 21st, we have our 11th annual Coaches vs. Cancer event at the Franklin Plaza. We're honoring our national honoree is Hall of Famer Tom Izzo. That sounds good right now. He was just recently inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame, and I think that's neat. We actually have a video presentation from Magic Johnson that will play at the event. And then locally, we're honoring the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation. Our athletic department's heavily involved with the Friends of Jacqueline. They're our local honoree. It's a great event, and I'm encouraging everybody in the local community to join forces with me, my wife Jamie, Michelle Patsos and Jimmy, Albany and Sienna as we join forces to battle and kick cancer in the rear end. We're going to try to raise awareness, raise money. Wonderful event. If you've never been there, there'll be 500 plus, people there. And I appreciate, the continued support from all of our sponsors.
Coach, well done. Go support Coaches vs. Cancer, the basketball. Do not miss that. There's some big time names there, and it's for a great cause. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, and cvcbasketballalbany.org. Buy your tickets, support the event. Hope to see you guys on the 21st. Trust me, you will have a great time, and it's for an awesome cause.